Okay, so this video is going to go through the real life algebra, those 5 problems. You should have already tried those, even using the answer key. Make sure you've done that. I'm still going to present them on the board. That way, if you were confused, sometimes it's helpful when I'm talking through the problem and not just looking at the answer key. Part of the notes that I loaded for this video is, this is optional. It's only a 10-minute activity. It's supposed to actually be slightly fun. Definitely more fun when we're doing it in the classroom. But it says, please do this activity before you watch the next video. And I also attached another hundreds chart. I handed this out in class, but in case you don't have that, I did attach it there. It's basically to play 20 questions with maybe one of your family members or something. So you can read through that later. All right. So the first few problems are definitely break-even point problems. Very similar to, I think the last video, we did a word problem about selling cell phones and which job should you take. It was like salary plus commission, that type of thing. All of these are very real life. Number 11, I actually heard this advertisement on the radio. It was either Enterprise or one of the car rental companies. And this was, gosh, maybe 8 years ago, whenever the gas prices had gotten up to close to $4 a gallon. And that's why, to keep this real life, I did leave the gas price pretty high. So it said, paraphrasing what the radio advertisement said, because this was like in April or May, and so they were trying to encourage you for your summer travel. They said, come rent a car from us for your next vacation, and it's going to save you so much money so you don't have to drive the gas guzzler that's in your driveway. And the commercial went on to say, and with all the money you saved, all the fun things you could do. There's a problem with that, though. You don't get to rent a car for free, right? I mean, if your brother or sister or parent is going to let you borrow a car for free, then sure, that might make sense. But you better believe Enterprise is going to charge you to rent this more efficient car. So, and gas prices, yes, they were high. But the point of this problem is to figure out, how far do I have to drive just to break even? Because I need to drive far enough where I'm saving the money on gas for the more efficient car that I rented versus the terrible car I have in my driveway. But I have to save enough money to make up for the cost of the rental. And on this problem too, of course, it always depends on your initial assumptions. I tried to be kind of conservative. I'm not trying to pick on Enterprise. So on some of my numbers, I actually kept them lower than what I think they would be in real life. All right, let's make some assumptions here. I think in the problem I call it the gas guzzler or whatever. I'm just going to call it, I do have a conversion van, and it is a gas guzzler. So we're just going to call it my van versus a car that's more efficient, right? All right, so we're going to go with, quote unquote, my van that gets 15 miles per gallon versus the rental car that they want me to come rent from Enterprise that's more efficient, right? Here is where I'm being pretty nice. A Camry is a full-size 4-door car that I could see a family driving somewhere in. I don't think that gets 30 miles per gallon, but I went a little bit higher just to try to be nice and conservative. And let's just run gas at $3 per gallon. How far would I have to drive to break even? All right, let's get some expressions first, and then we'll put it together. So X is miles driven. That's what we're trying to figure out, right? So let's talk about the van. Now at this point, you should have done quite a few problems that calculate how much gas does it cost to get from point A to point B. So that's all we're doing here. I'm just going to carry an X around because I don't know how far I'm driving, right? X miles. I wonder what that is, right? Times 1 gallon for 15 miles, because we're doing my van. That would get me up to how many gallons of gas, times the $3 per gallon. So then my gallons cancel. So yes, this is how much does it cost me. You could write that 3x divided by 15. In just a minute, if you're looking ahead at my notes, you'll see you could reduce that to x over 5. That's kind of nice. All right, so we've got that as an expression for the van, x over 5. However many miles divided by 5 is going to be my total cost for driving that distance, right? Okay, we're going to leave that up for a minute. We're just going to do this again for the rental car. I'll kind of go through this a little bit quicker. My X miles times 1 gallon over, my car, sorry, 30 miles per gallon times the $3 per 1 gallon. This is 3x over 30 or x over 10. I'll write this over here. So that's how much it's going to cost me to drive X miles in my car, in the rental car. So yes, of course, it's costing me less money, right? But I had to pay enterprise. Yes, I can erase all of this. So here's where we didn't want to overly complicate this. You know, in America, unless you've been in an accident or something, you can't even rent a car really until you're 25 without paying even extra. Renting a car, it's very complicated. A lot of times you have to buy extra insurance and all of this stuff. We're not going to complicate it there. We're just going to kind of use a generic number. Let's just say I can, and they were talking about going on your vacation, right? And vacation, summer vacation is normally a week for most Americans. So let's say I can rent the car for $300 for the week. Honestly, I think that's pretty low. I think it would turn out to be a whole lot more than that. But again, I'm trying to not pick on enterprise. So, you know, I made it reasonable. All right. So the van. Well, it's my van. I own it. I don't have to pay any rental cost on that, right? Enterprise was saying that my van was going to cost more than if I drove their rental car. So that's why I should drive the rental car, to save money. So then I can go out to eat more or something. The rental car plus the fixed cost of $300 because I have to rent it from them. So this is what we're trying to solve right now. We're going to solve it for equality to see the break-even point. Here are fractions. These fractions are not hard. It's out of 10 and out of 5. I just want to show you a trick. I don't like fractions any more than you do. I'm not going to put those fractions together. I'm going to, before I ever start, multiply everything by 10. If you do every single part by 10, it's algebraically valid. 10x over 5, that's 2x. 10 times x over 10, I hope everybody's okay with multiplying fractions, gives you x plus 3,000. That is so much cleaner and easier to solve than keeping the fractions. Minus x from both sides, x greater than 3,000. Now this is one I always enjoy doing in the classroom because I like getting y'all's opinions and we actually have a conversation on this, but let me give you the highlights. I have to drive 3,000 miles just to break even. I haven't even saved any money yet. Make sure you understand that's just break even. I have to drive more than 3,000 miles to start saving money. Now, if this is a family vacation, because that is how the radio ad was targeted, right? That means I'm going one way 1,500 miles, and then I come back home. Let's think about this. I mean, this is truly one of the most ridiculous advertisements I've ever heard in my entire life, but most people cannot work through the math to see how ridiculous it is. 1,500 miles. I'm pretty sure that's halfway across the country. I get tired after driving 600 or 700 miles, even by myself. This was geared towards families on vacation. I am pretty sure most families cannot drive 1,500 miles without stopping. And if you have to stop to spend the night, now you have hotel cost, right? So that just made your cost even higher. And remember this, because this is to break even. All right, so now I got a hotel cost in there. Now I'm pretty sure if you cut that in half, 750 miles drive for a family on one day, I'm sorry, that's hell. So 2 days going, because remember I had to spend the night, and it's been hell, and then 2 days coming home. Most Americans only get 7 days for vacation. So basically, I've only had 3 days vacation at my actual destination. I've had 4 days of absolute hell driving with children in the car. And hold on a minute, what car did you just put me in to drive halfway across the country? You were telling me I should leave my gas guzzler in the driveway and come rent a more efficient car. The gas guzzlers are going to be the vans and the big SUVs. That's what I need to be able to get my family halfway across the country without literally killing each other, right? If you put 2 parents and 2 to 3 kids in a Camry driving, 12, 14-hour days, 2 days in a row, that's not a vacation. So this was ridiculous. It sounded good on the radio, right? Oh yeah, gas is so high. Come rent a car and save. Once you think about all the pieces that go into it, honestly, it's beyond ridiculous. I don't even have words for it. All right, let's go on to number 1. So this one is not even open to debate. This was a ridiculous ad. Now, the next problem we do, number 1, of course, is up to people's personal opinion. So during the same time, I heard from, lots of just general people. It tended sometimes to be the older people that when gas prices get really high, people are always trying to figure out which gas station has the cheapest gas, right? And there's even like Facebook posts or groups you can follow or internet sites you can go to see which gas station in your city or your town has the cheapest gas. Okay. The problem is I found that people were going way out of their way to go to the cheap gas station. And, whether it's 20 or 30 cents cheaper, usually it's not $2 cheaper per gallon, right? It's 20 or 30 cents cheaper per gallon. That I realized a lot of people were forgetting to consider, to drive your car to that gas station to get the cheap gas, just wasted gas. So let's figure out this quick little scenario I gave for number 1. I told you a theme of my algebra part in 207 is all about gas. Okay, the cheap gas station. I was trying to base this on real life. I personally do have a pretty cheap gas station, and it is 5 miles from my house. But let's just say they were selling gas at $3.50 a gallon, and it is 5 miles from my personal home. I actually do have a gas station at the end of the neighborhood that I live in. It used to be Exxon. It's not anymore, but that's not important. So again, I would hear people going across town just to save 20 cents a gallon. And that's just what I'm calling the corner, so I don't have to go out of my way to go to the Exxon. I drive a Corolla, which I feel like gas stations are kind of in the city, right? This is Virginia. We don't have gas stations off of Highway 81 like you have up in New Jersey. So I felt like it would be appropriate to use my city, how much does my car get around town, not when I'm going 70 miles per hour on the highway. So I'm using 28 miles per gallon. And normally when I need gas, my tank takes about 11 gallons. Okay. Now, the generic question is, where should I buy my gas and why? And again, there is going to be some personal opinion that comes up. Well, this one is fairly simple first, just to figure out how much it's costing me. If I go to the cheap gas station, I buy 11 gallons of gas, and each gallon is $3.50 per 1 gallon. I'm okay on my units, so what is $3.50 times 11? I have spent $38.50, filling up my car at the cheap gas station. At Exxon, $11 times $3.70 is $40.70 to fill up my car at the Exxon. So at first glance, it seems like I have saved, I don't trust my mental math right now, $2.20. Okay, that's pretty straightforward, right? But here's my position. If the gas station, the cheap gas station, if it's on your way to work or to the gym or when you're going to Target or something, absolutely stop there and get it. Why wouldn't you? But again, from my personal experience, I heard about people literally driving across town, the opposite direction of where they would normally go just to save money. So that is the scenario I'm running here when you're going out of your way to save money. Now, if you're going out of your way, then once you get to the gas station, you're probably going to drive back home, right? Because you weren't on your way to anywhere. So that 5 miles turns into 10 miles. So I saved $2.20, but how much does it cost me to go get that gas? So again, 5 miles there and 5 miles back, because this was the scenario of I'm going out of my way. So 10 miles total, right? Now, 10 miles. So here's our mileage thing again. My car around town gets about 28 miles per gallon. And since I'm going to the cheap gas station, I think it makes sense to use the $3.50 as opposed to the $3.70. Miles, miles, gallons, gallons. Yes, this is leaving me with how much money did it cost? It cost me $1.25 just to drive there and back. So I no longer saved $2.20. I saved, minus $1.25, I saved a whole 95 cents. Now this is where personal opinion comes into play. For me personally, because I have a lot going on in my life, I'm pretty sure driving 10 miles out of my way to that gas station probably took me at least 20 or 30 minutes. It's not like this is on a highway. You got stoplights and stuff. To spend 30 minutes of my time to save 95 cents, for me personally, absolutely not worth it. Now, granted, if you're bored and there's nothing else going on and you wanted to go for a drive anyway, well then sure, but that's a different problem anyway. You just wanted to get out of the house or something, but from a sole, I'm doing this to save money, you were only saving 95 cents. So if you don't like some of my assumptions, or you drive a different car, or you wanted to make the two gas prices, more of a difference, not just 20 cents difference, you can work through this whole problem again with whatever assumptions you want. But this one definitely is not worth it to me. Oh yes. No. Well, I'm trying to think which one I want to do next. Oh, okay. You should have already done this for homework. Actually, I think it was assigned a couple of videos ago. But keeping on the theme of gas stations, gas prices, and advertisements, I do want to talk about number 9. Because again, I'm not making this stuff up. These were advertisements I either heard on the radio, saw in the newspaper, or things that my own kids have asked me. That's why this is called real life algebra. The only best motivation I can give you to why algebra is so important. I don't look to do algebra in my life. This stuff just comes up. So this was the Exxon commercial. I remember it was in USA Today. They had taken, I think, an entire page out, and they had put this in the middle. Exxon has, of course, had a bad reputation through the years. Oil spills, hurting wildlife, the price, environment, all of that stuff. So, of course, Exxon's going to want to try to seem like it cares for us and it wants us to save money. So they were giving helpful hints. Now, just to defend, and that's why I put it in parentheses, I am picking on what I saw in the USA Today newspaper this time, this one particular time. If you actually go to the Exxon website, like I tell you here, they do actually have some other useful tips, like keeping your tires inflated properly and stuff like that. And that really is very important information. But I'm going to pick on this. So they said, if you're driving to connect with family and friends over the holidays, when I saw this ad, it was right before Thanksgiving. Keep in mind that the less you haul, the better your car's fuel efficiency. Less weight in a car, then the car will do better. Removing 100 pounds of unnecessary weight from your trunk could increase fuel efficiency by 2%. Now think about it. They don't even guarantee you that's going to happen. And then it says, could do it by 2%. I don't know. Is it 1%? Is it 1.5%? So again, I'm going to be nice to Exxon, and we're going to assume the 2%. When we do this in the classroom, I actually make this a small homework where each one of you decides what car your family normally takes to, say, visit grandma for Christmas. So you'll use your own car. You'll figure out how far grandma is from wherever you live. So you'll calculate it for your family. We don't have that luxury through this video, so we're just going to calculate this. This was one student one time. Most students do not drive 250 miles one way to grandma's house for Thanksgiving. But I did have one student who was doing that, and they were driving an SUV. So we're just going to use this one example from a student I did have last year. So they were driving an SUV that they said normally got 18 miles per gallon, and their grandma did live about 250 miles away. Now again, I'm making the assumption once you visit grandma for Christmas, you're coming back home. So we're going to run this at 500 miles total. Okay. Gas prices are really low right now as I'm making this video. They're not going to stay that low. We're just going to use a generic $3 a gallon. If you don't like that, you can use whatever number you want. All right. Let's just figure out how much gas it takes you. All right. I got to go 500 miles. That's about the 10th time we've done this, right? You should be getting really good at calculating how much is it going to cost me in gas to go from point A to point B. My car gets 18 miles per 1 gallon, and we're going with the gas is $3 for 1 gallon. 500 times 3 divided by 18. Oh, I can't read my own handwriting. I'm sorry, hold on. I forgot to read the problem. It's $3.10. I'm sorry, $3.10. It would help if I read my own problem. Okay. This is going to cost you $86.11 in that SUV. Okay. Now, Exxon says, hold on, if you will take out 100 pounds out of your trunk, you could increase your fuel efficiency 2%. Now, this is using what we learned about adding tax when you were buying shirts at the store on some of those other word problems, right? Increase fuel efficiency 2%. Well, I was at 18, but I'm going to increase it. I'm going to get higher. That's like when you add tax before you get to the register. How much am I increasing it? Oops. 2%. So 18 plus 2% of 18. I am overkilling this just to remind you about problems from a few videos ago. There's that 102% in decimal form. That's how we were showing growth. That's how we were doing tax, right? Basically, my car now, apparently if I remove 100 pounds from the trunk, is going to get 18.36 miles per gallon if I do what Exxon tells me. So let's run this now with the better gas mileage. We're using the 18.36 instead of the 18. That's going to give you $84.42. So let me circle some of this stuff. This was before I removed 100 pounds. This was after I took Exxon's advice and I did remove the 100 pounds. So how much did I save? 86.11 minus 84.42. I saved $1.69. Wow, I don't even know why I would take the time to do the math if it's under $2, right? But let's talk about this even more. Guys, that was a long trip. That was my only student who was actually driving really long ways to get to Grandma. Most of my students, might drive 45 miles one way or 100 miles one way for like 200 miles total. So you can imagine if you're only driving 200 miles, you might be saving like 70 cents. Okay? So the only reason we saved that much money is because we were driving a really long ways. Now, okay, fine. Maybe you're really cheap and you want to save your $1.69. The question we then discuss in the classroom is, what the heck are you removing from your trunk? Exxon says remove 100 pounds from your trunk before you go to your family on the holidays. What are you removing? Are you not putting all the Christmas presents in there? Well, that takes the fun out of going to the holidays. I don't know. Some people might be spending the night at Grandma's if you're driving that far. Are you not bringing any luggage? So then you'll have no clothes or toiletries? What else could we remove from our trunk? Think about it. The only thing that might weigh 100 pounds would be your spare tire. Now, do I really want to remove my spare tire? What about if I have a flat tire? All to save $1.69? There's no way. Sometimes at this point, people will make jokes that maybe they'll leave their little brother at home or something. Now, that could work. He might be 100 pounds. But the premise that we have 100 pounds just sitting in our trunk that we do not actually need, and that we're to leave that at home just to save under $2, and that was for a really big trip. Most people save, again, 50 to 70 cents max. The most ridiculous advertisement, but they know that Americans cannot do the mathematics, and it sounds like a really good plan. And while Exxon was not selling you something here, what they were trying to do was to say, hey, America, we really care about you. We're a good company. Look, we're trying to help you save money. It's all propaganda, and it is absolutely ridiculous. All right, that was number 9. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm doing that on a different... Sorry, I'm getting my... No, I am supposed to be doing number 4. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I had lost my problem. That's number 4 is the longest. Let's do number 3 first. So number 4 has to do with gas again, but let's take a tiny break from gas. Let's go shopping again at Kohl's. Let's do number 3 next. Then we'll get to number 4. So this Kohl's, this was a few years ago, because guys, you better believe, before I ever go up to a register, I know exactly, or at least approximately, how much I should be paying, right? And when the registers don't ring up right, I try to be polite because it's never the cashier's fault, right? But I need to be able to figure out why I was wrong. Because half the time, it's because the register, the computer is wrong. So yes, I am that annoying person if you haven't figured that out. All right. And if any of you have ever shopped at Kohl's, this is the current policy. Now, this is number 3. This is only an issue if you have both of the parts of this problem. First of all, you should never shop at Kohl's if you don't have a coupon, because they really do raise their prices because they know they're going to put stuff on sale. So helpful hint there. But this is if you have a coupon, plus if you have what's called Kohls Cash. Every so often, if you spend enough money at the store, they will advertise that they give you what's called Kohls Cash. It almost looks like Monopoly money. And then you can bring it in like the following week and use it towards your purchase. The problem I have is that Kohl's advertises that their Kohls Cash is just like regular cash. But that is not the case. So this happened to me. One time I had done the math, I got to the register and it was wrong. I'm sure in tiny print that I would not ever be able to see, it was somewhere, but the manager explained to me the policy. If you have Kohls Cash and you have a coupon, they're going to deduct the Kohls Cash first. Then they're going to take off the coupon, which immediately means your Kohls Cash is not like your regular American dollar cash or credit card in your wallet. And that's how they advertise it. And that is actually a lie. So let's run through a concrete example. Okay. I got to keep up with my problem here. So I have $30 Kohls Cash. It's just looks like Monopoly money, but it's supposedly worth $30. Okay. We'll call that KC. All right. And yeah, so it sounds like I have a free $30, but I don't think so. Apparently I have a 30% coupon. I'm sorry that I used the same 30. I know that's slightly annoying. Okay. Now, let's do an example. Let's say I find a shirt and it's $40. There's my shirt. I picked him out. Okay. Let's pretend I don't have Kohls Cash. I just got my credit card. All right. Well, let me put this. This is just, let's just say I'm using my credit card. I'm going to write a check. I actually took $50 out of the ATM. Something like that. Okay. My $40 shirt. Well, it would be 30% off, right? Or we would be paying 70%. 70% of 40 is $28. We've done quite a few of these, so hopefully everybody's okay with that $40 shirt at 30% off now costs $28. Okay? That's if I'm using my credit card. I'm just walked in with my coupon. All right. The point is, they advertise that Kohls Cash is just like regular cash. So I thought, the time I went in there, I had $30 Kohls Cash now. So I was doing the math. I'm like, okay, the shirt's going to be $28. Then I'm going to hand them the $30 Kohls Cash. I really never expected that they would give me the $2 back, because I know that's a policy that sometimes stores won't actually give you real money back. But I was expecting my shirt to be free. And that didn't happen. The girl at the cashier actually asked me for money. And I'm like, well, how can that be? 30% off. The shirt's now $28. I had $30 Kohls Cash. I'm like, it should be free. That's when the manager had to explain the policy. So I know I just said all that out loud, but let's write that down. This is Kohls' policy. My $40 shirt, they are not going to take the coupon first. They are going to subtract the $30 Kohls Cash. Okay, so now apparently the shirt costs $10. Then they're going to apply the coupon. $10 minus $3 is $7. And that's exactly what the cashier asked me for. When I thought I was getting my shirt for free, she's like, okay, you owe me $7. I'm like, how can that be? And it is because of the way Kohls does it. This is misleading, and to me it's false advertising, but all they have to do is put that small print on the back of the Kohls Cash, and that, of course, saves them legally, right? So, basically, how much was my Kohls Cash actually worth? Let me get a different color pen. So remember when I was just going to have my credit card, it was going to cost $28. But when I applied my $30 Kohls Cash, I only owe them $7 right now. Basically, my $30 Kohls Cash only ended up being worth $21. Another way to think about it, remember how I had that 30% coupon? 30% coupon of $30 Kohls Cash is $9. I lost $9. So you're going to end up losing the coupon percent of your Kohls Cash. And no one really understands that. Let's just set up, I know it was not part of the real life algebra handout. I just want to add just a tiny bit to it. Because this was a specific example that worked for a $40 shirt, $30 Kohls Cash, 30% coupon, right? Let's just set up a generic formula that would work for any scenario. I am so sorry. Forgot to cut off my phone. I'm looking at my notes. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out. I'll just do this. I was about to do more, but that might confuse you. So we learned that my $30 Kohls Cash was not really a savings of $30 because I had a coupon, right? So if you ever have Kohls Cash and a coupon, so you can figure out how much money you're really going to save, it's not the amount of the Kohls Cash. If it's a 30% coupon, then this is going to become the 70%, right? This has to be in decimal form times your Kohls Cash. So the example we just did, we had $30 Kohls Cash. we had a 30% coupon. 0.7 times 30 was $21. So my $30 Kohls Cash really only saved me $21. So that's just sort of a very generic formula that you can use. Okay, let's go to the longest problem, but actually the most real life problem. Number 4. So, this was one that I will admit I had not thought about all the math that I needed to run. My dad helped me do this. So 7 years ago, I needed a new car. So I went to the Toyota dealer and I had explained to them how I was going to not drive my RAV anymore, that was going to one of my kids, and that I was trying to decide between the Corolla that I was looking at, and then there was a hybrid. It was the Prius at the time. And I was talking to the salesman how I was trying to decide between these two cars, okay? And I tried to, on this example, keep the numbers easier than they were in real life, but they were pretty close, to be honest with you. The Corolla cost about $15,000, and the Prius was going to cost about $20,000. So the Prius was $5,000 more. Now, one thing to make sure you understand is this. My decision was not, I'm just going to be honest, it was not based on the environment or anything like that. It was based on the bottom line financially to me. Just so you don't overthink it, insurance really wasn't an issue. Taking a loan and interest, that was not an issue at all. I just did not like that it was going to cost $5,000 more. So the salesman kept trying to say, oh, but the hybrid is going to get such better gas mileage. And as he was doing that, he kept referencing the RAV. And I told him, I said, I'm not driving the RAV anymore. I already told you that's going to my daughter. I said, my decision to be made today is between the Corolla and the hybrid. Okay? So we needed to know some information. Well, now this is what happened. I'm shortening up a story. It took me a couple days to decide. And I was talking to my dad, and he said something like, have you run the numbers of how much you drive to see how long it's going to take you to recoup the extra cost? And I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot to do that, Dad. I was a bit embarrassed. So then I did it. In general, highway is different from city. On average, in general, for the way I drive, the Corolla gets about 35 miles per gallon. I've never driven the Prius, but I think in general they had told me it would get 49 miles per gallon. And you better believe that any salesman is going to keep trying to get you to focus on the 49 is so much better than the 35. This was when gas was kind of expensive. So actually, if gas isn't expensive, this is not even a conversation to be had, right? Gas was $3.50 per gallon. And the other really important piece of information was, how much do I drive every year? I drive a lot. I drive at least 20,000 miles per year. I think the average an American drives is like 10 to 12,000, so I do drive a lot. So let's figure out how long I would have to drive that hybrid with its better gas mileage to recoup the cost, because see how it costs $5,000 more than the Corolla. So that's what I needed to figure out. Here we go with gas again. Hopefully you're an expert at this point. The Corolla, 20,000 miles in a year. It gets approximately 35 miles per gallon. Gas running in at 350. So for the Corolla, it was going to cost me about $2,000 in gas per year. Okay. Let's do that with the hybrid. 20,000 miles. That one they were quoting at 49 miles per gallon times the 350. I'm sure my answer key and my notes are written a little bit neater. I can tell my handwriting's getting a little sloppy. $1,428 gas per year. So yes, obviously I'm going to save money on gas. I mean, it doesn't take any math to understand that, right? Now I could figure out exactly how much I was going to save. All right, so 2,000 minus 1,428 is 572 savings in gas per year. But don't forget, the hybrid cost $5,000 more. And my whole question was, how long do I have to drive that hybrid just to break even? $8.7 years. Now, that's how long I have to drive the hybrid before basically it has paid for itself. And after the 8.7 year mark, then of course I will continue to save money. But think about it, and again, this is a personal opinion. Most people get sick of a car after 4 or 5 years. I don't. I drive cars for like 15 years. But the idea that for the first 9 years, I'm not saving a dime because the Prius costs more. Finally, at about the 9-year mark, I can say, oh, I'm starting to save a little bit of money. But after 9 years, I will have driven 180,000 miles. I have a feeling that Prius is either going to need a new battery or big repairs anyway that maybe the Corolla wouldn't have needed. So it's almost like I just got to keep driving to keep making up cost. So when I did this, and remember, I drive 20,000 miles per year. If you don't drive as much as me, you're never going to recoup the extra cost of the Prius. If you want a Prius, they're a fantastic car, great for the environment. This was solely to be able to debate back to the salesman when he kept trying to tell me that the amazing gas mileage on the Prius was going to make up for the fact that the Prius cost more. And again, he was hoping that I do not understand mathematics enough to know that that is a false statement. It's going to take me 9 years to make up the higher sticker price of the Prius versus the Corolla. So you could do this for any 2 cars that you're interested in. I'm starting to second guess what I was going to continue on. So, I just want to point out something, because if you look at the notes that I prepped for this video, we got to right here. I did point out if you do it for a normal person who only drives 12,000 miles, takes them 15 years. At that point, I'm pretty sure that the car is about done, right? But then I wanted to just kind of talk you through, again, I mentioned how for lots of situations, you can go to the internet and find little calculators, and it will ask you for, your information, and it will spit out an answer. Well, of course, someone programmed those formulas. So what I did down at the bottom, and I think I'm just going to let you read through this on your own because I don't want it to overwhelm you, but I just let variables equal the specifics I had up here. Like, remember my Corolla cost $15,000 and it got 35 miles per gallon? Well, I'm just saying, hey, let miles per gallon for car number 1 be R, or let miles per gallon for the second car be H. And then M is how many miles do you drive per year? Let that be capital M. And then P is the price per gallon, is like right now gas is, I think, $1.90 per gallon. So what's the price of the gas? And you can set up formulas, because this might be helpful to you, because this is the exact formulas you've probably done in 8 of my word problems now. All I'm doing is using variables. And then the total savings per year, you just subtract the 2, like I did right there. And then I just played around by factoring out. And then I also practiced getting a common denominator. Believe me, it did not make it look simpler. I was just trying to practice some extra algebra steps. So I do want you to look through that at your own speed, but I'm not going to take the time to go through this part on the video. All right, so remember to do that 20 questions activity before it will only take you 10 to 15 minutes with a family member or a friend, and then you can watch the next video.